Hello, Christopher here, and welcome back to the Patriot Report. Let's talk about one of the most practical amendments in the Constitution, the 12th Amendment. It might not get as much attention as the First or Second Amendments, but it directly impacts how the President and Vice President of the United States are chosen. In fact, it exists because the original system in the Constitution didn't work as planned, and it nearly broke the country apart. So in this summary, we'll explore what the 12th Amendment says, why it was created, and why it still matters in our constitutional republic. The original system, what went wrong? To understand the 12th Amendment, you have to first understand what the founders originally intended. In Article 2 of the Constitution, the Electoral College was designed so that each elector would cast 2 votes for president. The candidate with the most votes, as long as it was a majority, would become president, and the runner-up would become vice president. On paper, this sounded logical. But there were 2 problems. It didn't account for the rise of political parties, which weren't anticipated by the founders. It created the possibility of deadlocks, confusion, and rival leaders being forced to serve together. And that's exactly what happened. The election of 1800, chaos and a constitutional crisis. In the election of 1800, Thomas Jefferson and Aaron Burr, both Democratic Republicans, ran together. But because electors cast 2 votes without distinguishing between president and vice president, Jefferson and Burr each received 73 electoral votes, creating a tie. The tie had to be broken in the House of Representatives, and it took 36 ballots over several days before Jefferson was finally elected president and Burr became vice president. This wasn't just an inconvenience, it was a national crisis. Many feared the system had broken, and there were real concerns about political violence. The electoral rules simply did not reflect the reality of party politics. It was clear something had to change. The 12th Amendment, what it says. Ratified in 1804, the 12th Amendment was the first major reform to the presidential election system. Here's what it did. It requires electors to cast separate ballots for president and vice president. It ensures that both candidates are clearly running for distinct offices. If no presidential candidate receives a majority, the House of Representatives chooses the president from the top 3 vote-getters, with each state delegation having 1 vote. If no vice president gets a majority, the Senate selects the vice president from the top 2. This amendment brought the Electoral College more in line with the reality of party-based elections. It prevented running mates from accidentally tying or ending up in political opposition at the top of the executive branch. Why it matters in a constitutional republic. The 12th Amendment matters because it reflects how a constitutional republic adjusts to real-world challenges without abandoning its principles. Here's what it helps preserve. Stability and leadership. It avoids the kind of chaos seen in 1800 by clearly defining roles and vote procedures. Federalism. Each state still plays a key role in choosing the president, reinforcing the idea that this is a union of states, not just a national popular vote. Checks and balances. In the case of no electoral majority, the House and Senate get involved, another example of power sharing and preventing any single group from dominating. In a republic, the goal is not just popular representation, but also a balanced structure that limits power and encourages consensus. The 12th Amendment strengthens that structure. Modern relevance. While we rarely see ties in modern elections, the 12th Amendment still governs how we elect the president and vice president. It's the reason candidates now run as a ticket, president and vice president from the same party. Electors can't cause a surprise tie between running mates. There's a clear, constitutional procedure if no one wins a majority. During close elections, like in 2000 or even 2020, understanding this process is key. The 12th Amendment is part of what ensures that our system, while imperfect, has rules in place to handle high-pressure situations. The 12th Amendment may not be as widely discussed as others in the Bill of Rights, but it's a powerful example of how the Constitution can adapt without unraveling. It shows how serious flaws can be addressed through deliberation, amendment, and consensus, rather than by throwing out the system altogether. It's also a reminder that even the best systems need maintenance. The founders gave us a framework, not a finished product. When reality changed, Americans responded within the rule of law to fix what was broken. That's the heart of a constitutional republic. In the end, the 12th Amendment teaches us that protecting liberty doesn't just mean limiting power, it also means keeping our processes fair, functional, and in tune with how our society actually works. Thanks for listening. I'm Christopher, and this has been the Patriot Report. Stay informed, stay free,